Oh my God.
And we are back again, Jay, for a second episode this week.
Once again.
What's going on over here?
I didn't want to overload the listeners' taste buds with too much talk, so we decided to do a separate one about the fantasy. And a lot of our listeners, man, they've been requesting fantasy talk. It's been a while since we've given our opinions on some of these breakdowns, so let's do a focused episode all about football and fantasy and all that good stuff.
I'm all in it, man. I'm all in it for sure. Let's get to it.
All right, so as you mentioned before, we already did an episode where we talked baseball and we talked the UFC and we talked basketball. So if you're interested on our views and our opinions on all those topics, and you should be, then listen to the other episode that came out this week for the Unofficial Commentators. This one we're doing all football, all fantasy football all the time. All right.
If you don't want to listen to the other episode, then fuck you.
Simply put. And we're talking to you, Daryl. All right. So speaking of Daryl, I guess we've kind of been known now for kind of giving updates on how our teams are going. So I'm going to briefly talk about my New York Giants. So I believe that the best week they had was last week, not week 9, but week 8. Of course, I'm talking about the bye week. I decided after week 8 that I was done with football for this year, pretty much. There's no need for me to continue to follow the Giants. They're done. They're not playing for this year. And this is a sentiment that was shared by some other commentators who believe that the Giants gave up this week. I don't know if there was much to give up in the sense that they're playing without any of their top receivers. They're down 2 essential pieces of their secondary. I don't even think I saw Olivier Vernon out there, so I don't even know what the hell team the Giants are putting out there. Not to mention, they're overdue with firing that coach. It's just not a good fit. I'm done suffering with the Giants. You know, I'll be back next year, guys. I love you, Big Blue.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I went through that for 15 years, bro. You're only at it for a couple of months. I was in there, right where you are, for 15 fucking years.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have to give them props. They did win some championships in the interim, but it's tough this year. It's really tough this year to be a Giants fan. You know, on Sunday before the games, I had to run out and get something, and I threw on my Giants sweater. And the people that looked at me, they looked at me with disgust. They just seemed like grossed out by the fact that I was even wearing Giants apparel to go to the damn supermarket. It was bad. And that's just New York sports in general, to be honest with you. When they're good, everyone's on the bandwagon. When they're bad, everybody quits. I'm still a Giants fan, but I don't think I want to continue to suffer through what I'm looking at this year.
Go to the Jets.
No. I only appreciate the Jets when they win, because the day after the Jets win,
dollar coffee,
baby. I didn't get any dollar coffee this week. Both the Jets and the Giants lost. That was disappointing.
Too bad you're not getting many dollar coffees with the Giants.
Yeah. Well, there's always the Rangers. All right, so give me an update on the Oakland Raiders.
The fucking Raiders, man. They beat the Dolphins. It feels good to win, but it's just like the Raiders have become a team that they can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody. And that's kind of a fucked up feeling because you really don't know what to expect every Sunday. I believe the Raiders are on a bye this week, so...
Isn't that exciting, though?
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps you watching. I'll tell you that much. But
For you as a fan, it has to keep you engaged, even when they're playing against the putrid Miami Dolphins.
yeah, I mean, the Dolphins, we should have beaten them by so much more, but it is what it is.
They made it hard on themselves.
I'm really concerned about the Raiders though, because we had Super Bowl expectations, but Amari Cooper's dropping way too many passes, and Derek Carr, he seems like he's there, but he's not as consistent as he was last year and as he was this year before the injury. It's like some passes are just, you know, sailing over receivers. It's like I don't know, but like I said, we need to be a little bit more consistent this year. But so far, so good. 4-5. It's not great. It's not good either. But we're not dead yet. We still have a chance.
This isn't my team. I'm kind of on the outside looking in, but um, yeah, man, the Raiders are just not looking good, and there's just some things I don't understand. I think Amari Cooper's making up for the fact that he didn't drop as many balls last year. He's just trying to make up for it because he was dropping a lot of balls his first year. Then he kind of, we thought he turned the corner, but nope, can't teach an old dog new tricks, I guess. And
Yeah.
Michael
Look,
Crabtree is looking like a really dependable receiver. I never thought of him as a number one, and I thought when they brought in Cooper, he was clear cut the number two guy. He is in fantasy. Well, we thought he was in fantasy, but at this point, Michael Crabtree is getting all the love.
Michael
Uh,
Crabtree has ice in his veins, man. The most important thing is how clutch he is. It's like he has really good hands. I like how Cooper and him, complement each other, assuming Cooper can catch again. Because, one is like the big play guy, the other one's like the secure guy. So I like what they're doing, but don't forget, Crabtree was a first overall pick. He was always supposed to be pretty good. He's never really been hurt. It's just, I don't know, people just didn't give him as much credit because he was in the 49ers. Don't forget, he also played in a Super Bowl with the 49ers, so he has experience. But yeah, man, the Raiders are still in it. I mean, if you look at the AFC is not that big a deal. I mean, they're 2 games away from the AFC West and the wild card, and there's still like 7 games left. So we should be fine. The schedule is really, really fucking tough from here on out. But if the Raiders can get, healthy after this bye, get it together, we'll be good.
yeah, I'm glad that they finally used some Marshawn Lynch. I was starting to wonder why the hell you'd bring him out of retirement and then use him, so infrequently. But he got some burn last week, so about damn time.
Hell yeah.
All right. Couple of things we want to talk about. We discussed doing some mid-season awards. We're a little bit beyond a mid-season. We're coming into week 10. But I guess as we were having our production meeting, we were discussing, if it was even worth mentioning biggest surprise, biggest disappointments. In terms of NFL teams, I think we agree that they're both in the NFC East. Uh,
Yes.
the biggest surprise being the Philadelphia Eagles. Who would have thought they'd be far and away the best team in the NFC and possibly the NFL?
Amazing. Yeah.
And that the Giants, who had Super Bowl expectations? No, that's not the word, but
I think they did. I
I
honestly thought they were going to make the Super Bowl for the NFC. I honestly did.
mean, a team that won 10 games last year, you thought that they would only get better from there, considering the talent they brought in. But
It's a bunch of things. I mean,
it
the
just
Cowboys, who are
nosedived
their biggest
so
rival,
quickly.
I thought the Cowboys were going to miss Zeke. That never happened, right? I thought Green Bay would have probably been the biggest one, but Green Bay always struggles with a strong defensive line. The Giants have that. I didn't expect the Saints to be so goddamn good. The Saints got 6 in a row. What happened to them? I thought their defense was going to keep sucking. And I thought Seattle was also going to have offensive line problems. So the Giants had a chance. But it turns out that, the other teams have found a way to win, but not the Giants. I thought the Giants could have made a really legit Super Bowl run.
Yeah, that possibly could have
If
been a
you
situation,
would
but
have told me in September, there's 2 New York teams. One is going to be 4-5. The other one's going to be 1-7. I would have said the Jets are 1-7. The Giants are 4-5.
oh man, it seems like such a far off dream now.
Mhm.
But tis what it is. All right,
Well,
and
lucky for you, the 49ers nor the Browns have won a game yet, so you'll be fine.
how is that lucky for us?
Because you're not the worst. You're not even the second worst.
uh, wow, that's I don't know how much of a great consolation that is, but
Eh.
we'll take him when we can get him. All right. So Andrew Luck is out. That drama's over, thank God. And Ursay, well, not Ursay per se, but Tony Dungy was talking some bull crap there that he overheard Ursay say, I think that's all in his head.
That's fucked up.
Is this something you should be saying out loud? I mean, I'm not sold on Andrew Luck. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's the second coming or any of those promises that they bestowed upon him coming out of college. But still good enough. He's good enough to take what we now know to be a hot garbage team and make them somewhat respectable. To be saying that kind of thing, like, why would Andrew Luck ever want to play? And what's going on with football where these owners have such a frontline in your face kind of role this year? They seem to be involved in every storyline this year.
Yeah, because of the Kaepernick thing. That's why. It's brought attention to the owners. Because now, they have to say things and they have to do things and now everybody wants to know their opinion on it. So, yeah, but that's a fucked up thing to say, though. But to be honest, it's not just Ursay, dude. It happens in every level. Coaches and managers, mostly coaches, they tend to always think that the players are exaggerating the injuries. And I'm a victim of that, too. That also happens to me, especially if you've played. You're like, come on, man, don't be such a pussy. But you really don't know what the other guy's going through. So it's a fucked up thing to say. I'm one that I've worked on that. I've tried not to be like that. But you see this all the time, all the time.
I used to think that about number 87 on the Crows. I think he rolled his ankle or something playing a game against the Sharks and then never came
Ha ha
back.
ha ha ha.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
What's this guy talking about? Like, I'm there on the defensive line. I'm getting pounded every game. I'm fine. Didn't
Well,
even
you
break a
can't
fingernail.
play if you can't run. That's it.
I don't know. This guy played a couple of games, caught a pass or two, and all of a sudden he decided that coaching was the way. But hey, who am I to judge?
I kept playing after I came back from that injury. By the way, sir.
Yeah.
I then suffered 2 cracked ribs, which I played through them. Thank you. That's fine. You weren't here anymore.
Oh wow, yeah, that's easy to say when I wasn't there anymore. All
Yeah.
right, so mid-season awards, MVP.
Carson Wentz.
All right, rookie of the year.
Like, that's pretty easy. Carson Wentz. You could have made an argument for Deshaun Watson, but that ended. So Kareem Hunt.
All right, defensive player of the year.
Oh, you're not gonna believe who I'm gonna say. Marshawn Lattimore, the cornerback for the New Orleans Saints. That guy has been a beast, and he's
Really?
brought back that secondary, which was hot trash. Marcus Lattimore, cornerback for the New Orleans Saints, defensive rookie of the year.
Now, why wouldn't I believe it? Who you thought I would have gone with?
I don't know, but not many people pick corners for rookie of the year, for defensive rookie of the years. I also like Tre'Davious White from the Bills, so I can't believe I'm stuck on 2 corners for rookie of the years.
Well, I like Ramsey from Jacksonville. I didn't think that team was worth hot shit, but they're actually the best defense in football, and the biggest change they made was adding Ramsey.
Ramsey was there last year, though. You know that, right? It's his second year.
Well, his breakout year, whatever you want to call it, but still,
Yeah.
man, like that's the biggest.
Jalen Ramsey's a beast. You saw that fight with him and AJ Green?
I don't know if I call that a fight. It seemed like a mugging. It's AJ Green, creeping up behind him and punching his helmet. That's smart, AJ Green. You're a receiver. You need your hands. Punch somebody in the helmet.
Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking. That's crazy. Like, why would you do that?
Because he's soft. Coach of the year.
Oh, wow, coach of the year. That's a tough one. I'd say you'd have to give it to the guy in the Eagles, man. The Eagles are killing it. They're 8-1. What's his name? I got his face.
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson. Yes. Him.
All right. Comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year. You caught me off guard on that one. Do you have any idea on who you would pick for comeback player of the year?
I don't think this is an official stat. This is kind of something I just came up with.
It is, but I was not thinking about that one.
I'm kind of torn. Is it Marshawn Lynch who came back from retirement, or is it Adrian Peterson who came back from injury?
Well, Adrian Peterson played last year, but
Limited, and he got injured, and he missed a whole bunch of time.
and then
So
and then he missed a lot of time with the Saints. Now he's with the Cardinals, so I don't know if that's the one. I mean, he is a candidate. He probably is, but I don't know. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. I'm missing someone. Because Marshawn Lynch sounds like too obvious, but Marshawn Lynch hasn't been that great either. So I feel like there's somebody missing that was not there last year, and it's there last year, and it's making a difference. I know there's somebody, and I'm just not getting it.
all right. Well, the comment section is open, guys. If you want to lob in who you would consider the comeback player of this year, throw it in there. Also, give us your ideas on, mid-season awards, who you think it tops the other categories that we mentioned. And with that, I'm ready to move on from the Ezekiel Elliott story. But that's not what I meant to say. I'm ready to move on to fantasy, which is probably what most people tune into this episode for. So, you ready to do this, Paki?
I'm ready, man. I'm still thinking about the fucking comeback player of the year.
Don't stress yourself, man. All right. The 5-4 Marshawn of the Dead is going to play against 3-6 So Loyal. Marshawn of the Dead currently in 4th place. So Loyal is in 12th place. So I want to say this on the front end. Thursday Night Football is going to be disputed this week between Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals, played in Arizona. Sunday Night Football is going to be the New England Patriots versus the Denver Broncos in Denver. Monday Night Football, Miami against Carolina. Miami again in an evening game. So far this year, I've already seen them on Thursday night, Sunday night, and now on Monday night. And bye weeks. Bye weeks will affect a lot of people because a lot of offensive players are coming from these teams. The Kansas City Chiefs on bye, Oakland Raiders, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Baltimore Ravens all on bye weeks. So with that, let's look at this matchup. In the matchup of Marshawn of the Dead and So Loyal.
Never stops being funny, man.
This week I am going to go with Marshawn of the Dead. For starters, Josh McCown has been a surprising quarterback in general, but he's been especially good in fantasy. He seems to be good, in this day and age of weak and injured quarterbacks. He's good for 15 points just about every week. Golden Tate against Cleveland, great matchup. Sterling Shepard against San Francisco, great matchup. LaShawn McCoy, he's going up against the New Orleans Saints. We talked about how much better they got in their secondary, but I don't think they'll be able to stop a lot of LaShawn McCoy. Todd Gurley going up against Houston. I don't think he has too much to worry about. And everything else is just kind of all she wrote. Interesting choice here. It looks like Marshawn of the Dead is going to start Julian Thomas at tight end against Carolina. I don't think that he'll repeat his performance from last week. We know that if nothing else, the Raiders have somewhat of a weak defense, but I guess considering all of the bye weeks that we have, he didn't have many choices. He's without Zach Ertz, and I guess, Julius Thomas is probably the best option that was still over on the waiver wire.
All right, well, I'm picking So Loyal because, he got Le'Veon Bell versus Indianapolis. I would not be surprised if Le'Veon Bell puts up 30 fantasy points this week. On top of that, he has Latavius Murray, Isaiah Crowell, and Kyle Rudolph. All these guys are going to have significant roles this week. So I think So Loyal will have a great week, regardless of the fact that Tyreek Hill is on a bye week for him. He has Greg Kittle in there. I have no idea why the fuck. You can dump that guy, and you should be fine. But, yeah, man, I like this team. Man. Le'Veon Bell, he's been a beast this year.
Yeah, but I don't think 30 points is going to cut it. What Le'Veon Bell is going to do, if he does indeed get those 30 points, which I don't think so, even against Indianapolis, I don't think he gets the 30 points. But, the Marshawn of the Dead running backs are probably going to match that total. They'll cancel each other out. And after that, you got the rest of that team to try to beat. All of those stars that do have favorable matchups over on Marshawn of the Dead. I see your point. I get who you're picking, but I disagree with you.
I'm glad we disagree.
All right. 7th place, 5-4, FU Ben Affleck is going to be playing against the Atlanta fucking Falcons. The Atlanta auto drafts are 7-2, and they're currently at second place in the League of Haters League. Fuck you, Ben Affleck. They're constantly making moves. It was funny that Gary got downgraded from the wizard, the oracle, the boss, kind of got downgraded to el curandero, I think it was called. Um, it hasn't clicked this year, and I don't like the matchup I got this week for him either. Tom Brady against Denver. I mean, it's still Tom Brady, but he's playing on the road, and he does have to contend with Harris and Talib. Von Miller's probably going to be chasing him out of that pocket all game long. So I don't believe this projection of 20 points for
Dude,
Tom Brady.
Philly put 51 points on Denver.
Yeah. They did. I think they did it at
I'm
home.
I'm just saying. Well, there's still 51 points.
Yeah, but it was a 1 o'clock. It was a 1 o'clock game. It was traveling to Philadelphia from Denver, so that's a pretty long flight. They always say this nonsense about the long flight and all that other crap, having to adjust time zones and whatnot. And on top of everything else, I don't think you're going to do that twice to that defense. I mean, the offense is one thing. Yeah, they're not great, but you're not going to do that twice to that defense. I don't think so. Landry against Carolina, 10 points seems decent. Robert Woods against Houston. Well, Robert Woods is kind of whatever. Houston is, at this point, a slightly better defense than the Giants are. Don't expect greatness there. Matt Forte is questionable. I don't think he might make this game. And Jimmy Graham against Arizona, don't like it, but it's the best of the options you have. Greatly hurt by the absence of Jay Ajayi this week. I don't think that you're going to start Jared Goff, which is probably the best thing you have on the bench, and then you're left with very few options. I don't like Gary's team. I don't like it in general, and I don't like it this week. I'm going to pick ATL fucking Falcons.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with ATL fucking Falcons also. And by the way, I'm fucking auto-drafting next season. It's ridiculous that this guy auto-drafts, and he still gets to be in the top leaders. But, yeah, he should win this matchup. I mean, I haven't really been convinced with Matt Ryan, but Julio Jones has been nice. Theo Riddick versus Cleveland should be nice. And he has T.Y. Hilton, who had a monster game last week. If he finally found some chemistry with Jacoby Brissett, then T.Y. Hilton is going to be a fucking steal throughout the entire fantasy season or what's left of it. But by the way, what's up with this guy, man? He's just storing these players like in case they come back. Danny Woodhead, Greg Olsen, and Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon's coming back in week 13, so he's clearly already in the playoffs. So it looks like he's preparing for that already. Crazy, but yeah, man, I'm picking fucking Falcons.
Yeah, that's just keeping those players so that someone else doesn't pick them up. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I wouldn't start any of those guys that he has on the bench that are supposedly returning over the people currently on his starting lineup. So I guess I applaud your strategy, getting them before anyone else does. But that's pretty much all she wrote. If I'm just a general fantasy player and I'm trying to get into the playoffs, there's no reason for me to pick up those players. And even when you get to the playoffs, I don't think you're starting them. You just want to make sure someone else doesn't beat you with them. Motherfucking Friend Zone, currently in 8th place, also at 5-4. Plays against 5-4, 6th place, designated card driver. We have a bit of a log jam at 5-4. A lot of teams, 5-4, Violent Mambo amongst them. So this week, hold on here. This week I have, who do I pick on this one, man? All right, I'm going to start talking about motherfucking Friend Zone. So Matthew Stafford is Matthew Stafford. Great matchup going up against Cleveland. That's a no-brainer. Kelvin Benjamin may finally make his debut in Buffalo. I'm still interested in seeing how they use him. He's obviously the best receiver that they got on that team. 60 yards and a touchdown, maybe, unless he can break out a big play. Antonio Brown against Indianapolis, salivating at the thought of that matchup. I like Doug Martin. I'm not sold on McCaffrey, Evan Ingram, Deshaun Jackson, no and no. Even though this week, given the fact that Mike Evans is going to be suspended, Deshaun Jackson may see an uptick, but I don't like the matchup because the Jets defense is still that good. So all things considered, I don't know. I'm gonna hold out on my pick until I hear what you got to say about the designated car driver.
Well, I'm picking designated car driver because first of all, Kevin Benjamin is going to face New Orleans, so that means that if he plays, he's probably going to go up against the rookie Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore has not allowed anybody more than 3 catches or more than 30 yards, I believe it is, throughout the entire season. So don't expect anything big there. But designated car driver, you got Dak Prescott versus Atlanta, who's been underperforming. Des Bryant, you're going to get double the points. Amir Abdullah versus Cleveland. And add to that Hunter Henry, who comes back. I know it's against Jacksonville, but Hunter Henry has been Phillip Rivers' favorite target the last couple of weeks. So he's going to get a couple of catches. I mean, don't expect the Jaguars to fucking shut out the Chargers. They'll probably win, but a shutout, I doubt it. So, man, I really like what's going on with designated car driver this week. I'm going with that team.
I would have felt probably more confident if they could have relied on Buck Allen. No, I think I'm going to go against you this week, Paki. I'm picking motherfucking friend zone.
No, I don't think they're going to do much on that side. I don't see it.
Hey, man, that's kind of your opinion, huh? All right,
Yeah.
4 and 5. Put up your Dukes against another 4 and 5 team, Joel Vasquez's team. I lost previously to Put Up Your Dukes, but I beat the brakes off Joel Vasquez's team. Put Up Your Dukes. They kind of seem to, amass a mod squad of different players and then kind of, put some wins together. I remember losing my matchup against him in the very last day when it came down to either Kareem Hunt or Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce had a monster game that week. Travis Kelce, who's been one of your main performers, will not be playing this week. So not looking great for Put Up Your Dukes, but much in the way that they said that that the Giants kind of gave up, I'm thinking that Joel Vasquez's team kind of gave up. All right, but I'm here to talk about Put Up Your Dukes. So, Put Up Your Dukes. No Alex Smith this week. No Travis Kelce. That's already 2 negatives. Your number 1 pick, Mike Evans, on suspension, and Alshon Jeffrey out on bye. Jerick McKinnon should probably break your starting lineup. I don't know what he's still doing on your bench, but I'm not here to manage your team. I don't like Sammy Watkins. Never have, never will. I'm not going to call him an NFL bust, but I haven't liked what he's had. And you know what? Without boring people with too many details about how Frank Gore is losing touches to Marlon Mack or how Duke Johnson, as the year progresses, is probably going to get less work because they're going to try to run more than they actually pass to him. I'm just going to say that the fact that you are looking to start Jay Cutler is enough for me to wish evil on you. You should lose just because of that, but Joel Vasquez's team has nothing on that side.
Yeah, Joel Vasquez, if you don't like Jay Cutler, well, Joel Vasquez is going to be starting Blake Bortles. So we got some shitty quarterbacks playing in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Demaryius Thomas, this guy had not scored a touchdown all fucking year. He had 1 game with over 100 yards, and I had him in another fantasy. I dropped his ass because he was fucking sucking up my lineup every single fucking week. And as soon as I drop him, he has a monster week last week. So I expect him to keep having monster weeks since I already lost him in another fucking fantasy league. So fuck this guy. I don't care. And fuck Joel Vasquez. Put Up Your Duke should fucking win. I don't care. I'm done.
So if you have Demaryius Thomas on your team and he starts doing well, you can thank Paki for dropping him.
I'm a fucking jinx. If I pick somebody up, he gets hurt. If I drop somebody, he starts fucking killing it. I'm telling you, I'm a fucking jinx this year. Sammy Watkins, I also had him in another league. I fucking held on, and this bullshit didn't do shit. And then he had a good week against the Giants again as soon as I dropped him. So, fuck it.
All right, so we're both going with Put Up Your Dukes. 5 and 4, Violent Mambo is playing against the 1 and 8, Zeke and Joe Punchaho. So, Violent Mambo, yours truly, is going to start a kind of a regular lineup for me. I do get slightly hurt by the bye weeks. I'm not going to depend on Kareem Hunt this week. Also, without Alex Collins. And the only thing of note that I picked up on the waiver wire was Randall Cobb. to replace John Brown, who's, without Carson Palmer, was nothing really on that team. Defense is still the same solid defense I've been trotting out. So I'm going to depend on a lot of Robbie Anderson, who's been playing better as of late. I think he scored a touchdown in each of the last 3 games, probably 4 of the last 5 games. Russell Wilson has been lights out. I don't like that he's playing on a short week. Not necessarily because of Russell Wilson, but probably the offensive line still needing to, get back together, gel, and play their game. Adrian Peterson against Seattle. Just in general, the Seattle defense is really good. So the expectations are low on Peterson, but here's hoping for the best. Lamar Miller, whose role was kind of in jeopardy, has been getting more and more burn. I expect that without Deshaun Watson, they kind of run a little bit more. Hopefully there's an uptick in his production. Allen Hurns, he's there in my starting lineup for right now, but it's kind of a coin flip. It could be him. It could be Cobb. Still undecided. And in my flex, crucial spot, Travis Benjamin. Don't like his matchup, but, he's kind of the best of what I got left. So what's over on the Zeke and Joe punch-a-hole side? Zeke and Joe currently 1-8, the worst team in the league in terms of record, but this week I could be upset.
Well, first of all, Jay, I'm sorry to tell you that I dropped Demarius Thomas to pick up Robbie Anderson in that other league, so don't be surprised if Robbie Anderson fucks some shit up. I'm sorry, man.
Jerk.
But Zeke and Joe punch-a-hole, man. It looks like Eli Manning is the jinx in general. I mean, 1-8 in real life and 1-8 in fantasy here with Zeke and Joe punch-a-hole. I'm going to go with Violent Mambo on this one because Will Fuller is useless without Deshaun Watson. Tom Savage is not going to get him the ball downfield. D.D. Westbrook, I think, is probably the most talented receiver coming out of college this year, but this is his first game, so I don't know. I'd be surprised if he has a breakout game right off the bat. And on top of that, you have C.J. Fedorowicz, who also is coming back from IR. First game, expect some, how do you call this? Expect them to, expect some rust. So there's too many players there that are not going to be producing a lot of points for Zeke and Joe punch-a-hole. So I'm going to go with Violent Mambo.
Zeke and Joe, by the way, he doesn't have anybody on bye. If you check his bench, Safarian Jenkins is there. He might be moved up to the starting lineup. Brandon Cooks, who has been a bit of a disappointment, he might make the starting lineup. Also, Adam Thielen. We got word that it's definitely going to be Case Keenum. I don't know how I feel about that. And Keenan Allen is still there. Also, Brendan Roethlisberger going against Indianapolis. He's playing on the road, but it is Indianapolis. So,
Well, I mean, Big Ben will probably start and probably Adam Thielen, but all the other ones I doubt he would put him up. Safarian Jenkins is garbage, and Brandon Cooks going up against Denver. He's probably going to get a keep to leave, so I don't know.
It's his first pick. I don't think he starts Fuller or Westbrook over Cooks.
Yeah.
But that's a game time decision, I guess, for Zeke and Joe punch-a-hole. All right, the 3-6 IR Marauders, currently the 13th best team in the League of Haters, but the deepest team of the League of Haters is going up against Mr. Keiko Jones, also 3-6. Oh man, 3-6. This must mean that Adeli is riding a 6-game losing streak. Man, this guy can't get out of his own way.
Yeah, man. Fuck it, dude. I'm not the deepest team anymore. I'm sorry. I can't keep this fucking fake face up all year, man. I can't. It's
this facade.
I cannot do it, man. I cannot do it. I really tried, and it's like the fucking fantasy gods were like, "Oh, so your team is deep. All right, well, we'll try this. We'll take away this guy, and we'll take away this guy." And they just kept fucking me in the fucking ass all year, and now I'm stuck with a bunch of waiver wire picks that I've had throughout the entire year. It's ridiculous, actually, but whatever. It is what it is. If I'm gonna talk about my team. Fuck it.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to win this week. I mean, I should have had Carson Wentz. I traded him away. At the moment, I thought it was a good trade. It turned out to be a fucking stupid trade because I was not expecting to lose Aaron fucking Rodgers to injury.
Right.
I got Juju Smith-Schuster right now, who I just picked up. Hopefully he'll give me something because I need it. Same with Cooper Kupp. So both of my receivers picked up from the waiver wire. Uh, Jordan Howard hasn't done much. Bilal Powell, who knows? He's like 7 points and that's it. So I don't know, man. My team is kind of dull right now. I got no fuck. Emmanuel Sanders, who was my second receiver, he's fucking hurt. Who knows if he's going to be back? Stephon Diggs, who was my third receiver, he's been hurt as well, and I don't know what he's going to do against Washington. So fuck it, man. This is tough, bro. It's tough. It's not easy. I'm not deep anymore.
Damn, I'm a little depressed for you.
It's I have to say it with a depressing tone.
Tyrod Taylor making it happen, not necessarily in the air, but he gets a few rushing yards to bolster his points. So I think the projection of 16 points is fair for Tyrod Taylor. It's a bad matchup against New Orleans if you're throwing, but he can make a few things happen, maybe make a little magic. These two teams, though, Buffalo and New Orleans, are red hot. So if nothing else, if I can catch this game on TV, I wouldn't be upset. Devin Funchess, I heard that he would get the bulk of the offensive passes without Kelvin Benjamin. Devin Funchess, famous for running routes. And he's going to be playing against Miami. Monday Night Football. Don't know how to feel about this one. I hope that Cam Newton can get him the ball. Corey Davis in Tennessee. I think he's deep on the depth chart. Really, I don't know.
No, he was hurt. He was hurt. He played like 75% of the snaps last week, and supposedly this week is like his coming out party. So I picked him up in another league also. So that's not a bad pick, but we just don't know with Tennessee because they just like to run so much.
True indeed. Devontae Freeman is nursing an injury. I'm hearing here that he's been limited at practice, questionable, has a knee injury, and they're calling it the knee injury, but in the game he fell and he fell on his neck, which is kind of weird. But that's not what's been limiting him. Apparently, it's been a knee and a shoulder stinger, which may be more related to that neck thing I saw. Chris Thompson has been a real positive for this team.
Yes.
But you know, it doesn't now always necessarily translate to fantasy. Is his name AJ Derby? I don't know this guy. Whatever. Tight end in Denver with Brock Osweiler throwing you the ball, whatever the hell ever. Devontae Parker came back, looked pretty good, looked serviceable. Going up against Carolina, he can get some play there. Damn,
But by the way, Brock Osweiler has no business being in the NFL.
None at all. This is another reason why you can probably claim collusion. What's going on here? Did Adeli not set his lineup? He's starting this Derby guy against New England, who is not that garbage defense that they were, and he has Gronk on the bench. That should change. I don't know why he's holding on to all these quarterbacks that may not ever make the field, Garoppolo and Bridgewater. I don't like the makeup of this team. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that you're losing, Adeli. Look into your team, man. Start managing.
Garoppolo's not probably not going to play this year. Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know. I think he's swimming for a quarterback, which makes no sense because Tyrod Taylor has been killing it.
Yeah. I don't like the composition of this bench, but whatever. It doesn't seem like he's greatly hurt by any bye week or anything. So you got players that can start. This is a true pick'em game. And you know what? I'm going to go benefit of the doubt here. I'm going to pick the IR Marauders.
Oh, my God. You're fucking crazy. There's no way I can win any games anymore.
Hey, man. Let's see what happens.
I hope.
I'm going with the IR Marauders. Maybe I bring you some luck. All right, and we're going to close it out this week with first place, Gotham City Rogues, against third place, 6-3, 20-plus push-up teams, a team that I said was scary at the beginning of the year. So, Gotham City Rogues. So, Mariota's back. Still not 100% Mariota, but he's good enough. DeAndre Hopkins, who praised Tom Savage, even over Deshaun Watson, must be eating his words right now. I don't like the matchup. I think that the defense for the Los Angeles Rams is good. If nothing else, their defensive line is very good, and Tom Savage is going to be running for his life. Mohamed Sanu, against Dallas. It's not a bad matchup, but still Mohamed Sanu. About 80% of the catching workload still goes to Julio Jones.
Yep.
But because Julio Jones is apparently allergic to catching fucking touchdowns, then it looks like Mohamed Sanu may find the end zone. Now, this is where Gotham City Rogues is set apart from everyone else. He struck gold with Melvin Gordon, especially in this PPR league. And Mark Ingram, now that they finally decided to go to stray totally away from Adrian Peterson, is getting a lot of burn. And on top of that, had Alvin Kamara, who seems to be like the perfect complement, man. They're like thunder and lightning. Both of these running backs are a really wise play to play them together. If
Yeah, I
you're
like it.
playing if you're playing in any fantasy league and you pick them up, this is not a situation where you're picking up the handcuff. No. You can start both of these players, and you'll be in a very good state. Um, Nothing to write home about on his bench. You still got Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan is still coming back from injury. Amari Cooper on bye this week, but I don't think you're going to miss him too much. And despite the fact that I said that 20-plus push-up teams is scary, and I still think that some injuries, not to his players, but to complementary players to his players, hurt with the 20-plus push-up team. I'm going to go with Gotham City Rogues to go 8-2 at the end of this week.
Yeah, I agree, man. Gotham City Rogues with that running back tandem, they are seriously dangerous. On the other side, the reason why I'm not picking 20-plus push-up teams, sorry, Daryl, is because Drew Brees is not at home.
Apologize to
And
Daryl.
What happened?
I apologize to Daryl. Fuck Daryl.
Yeah, fuck Daryl. Drew Brees is not at home, and when he's away, let me see, he hasn't even cracked 20 points yet the entire season after being away. Oh, no, he did 20.80 once, yes. So that's his best week. But this time is against Buffalo, up in the cold. I don't think that's Drew Brees' environment. Jordy Nelson is useless without Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, and is also on the road. Richard Matthews is probably going to be losing targets to Corey Davis, who's been playing a lot more. So you're left with Carlos Hyde, who has also been in regression, and DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray will probably give you some production, but after that, and Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones was a beast last week, by the way. Oh, my God. I don't care if his fantasy points were up there or not. They were, by the way. But regardless, he was making some marvelous catches. So I'm taking Marvin Jones and DeMarco Murray as the only true producers in this team. But that won't be enough to beat that running back tandem in Gotham City Rogues, man.
All right, so that is going to wrap it up for us on the Unofficial Commentators. We went fantasy only this week. But if you enjoyed what we did here, please watch the other episode where we talk about topics that include baseball, basketball, and the UFC. And Paki, tell everybody where they can listen to that.
On YouTube and on SoundCloud, you can look it up with Unofficial Commentators. And if you don't look it up, well, fuck you. And if you don't want to listen to it, well, then fuck you too. All right? You can follow us and check us out on Twitter and Instagram at UC_podcast for Twitter and at Unofficial Commentators for Instagram. I think that covers it.
The thoughts expressed by Paki are not shared by JJ 98. I think if you do not want to listen to us, just forward us or recommend us to a friend and tell the friend to tell you.
No, fuck you if you don't want to listen.
It's usually more fun that way.
No.
But we appreciate you clicking on our show and recommending it and moving it forward. Thank you very much. That is everything that we have to tell you this week about the League of Haters, fantasy football in general, football. And if you got nothing else to add this week, Paki, then everyone go in peace.